I thought that would give me time to share things, but that was extremely anticlimactic. We already got one viewer on, Dave. Who's gonna be the first guest this week, or the first comment this week?
First one in wins. Jake's new hat.
Ooh, my Black Rifle hat, the company hat. Who's it gonna be?
Who we got? Ron.
Ron's in.
Winner. You get your hat.
Ron,
Sean, he just chimed in.
I'm almost ready to give away this hat. I like this hat a lot, but the snaps on the back of it kind of frustrate me. They come apart sometimes. Who else we got on there? We got 7 people. Ron. Oh, man. We got a good podcast tonight. I'm very, very excited for.
Ron says I'll take your hat.
All right, Ron. Next competition. It's yours, brother. You like Black Rifle coffee? I love Black Rifle coffee. This is a very anticlimactic opening. Usually it's just me yelling, we're live. I don't like the music. We're never doing that again.
I liked it. It was nice.
It was different.
Tyler's in.
All right. Shared it up a couple times. Who's on?
Chris. Chris says he'll get you a new hat.
Chris will give me a new hat. Oh, yeah, Chris. Oh, we got some surprises there.
We got some announcements coming up.
Rodney. We got Rodney on. All right. Well, as people trickle in here, we'll go ahead and get started because I'm going to probably talk this guy's ear off all evening. We got Roland from Pancho and Lefty Seasonings and Steak Marinade. Now, if you're in the SCA world, you know about Pancho and Lefty. You probably heard things about the new marinade switching over, and that's honestly the reason why we had to have him on. If you look in the forum, some people say things changed. If you reach out to certain people, they say it hasn't changed. I messaged Pancho. He said nothing's changed, or he said things have changed. So we got to have him on here a little bit and chat it up. So without further ado, let's bring in Mr. Roland from Pacho and Lefty. How you doing, brother?
Good, sir. Doing great.
Good. Thank you for being on here. We really appreciate it.
Anytime.
So we'll start this off kind of like we do every episode. Roland, how did you get into barbecue?
Well, actually, I started cooking state competitions in 2008. We have a pretty big one here in Texas, and in Hico, Texas. It's pretty large. There's usually about 100+ cooks every single year. But a friend of mine and his dad really enjoyed cooking a lot, and we did it quite a bit. And his dad kind of found the cook-off in Hico, Texas, and said, "Hey boys, let's try some state competition and whatnot." And he was kind of a bigger guy, and he was a little older, couldn't really walk. So me and my buddy were his boys that did all the work, and he just kind of told us what to do. So. His name was Big Tim Canterbury, and a lot of people in the SCA know about him. He was one of the original gangsters of the SCA. He started it all, with a lot of the guys like Brett and Johnny and things like that. But, that's where it started all. And we went to that first competition, 100 whatever cooks, and we got 4th place. And, we were hooked from that point on. So, that was it, and it was a great time, man. We enjoyed it, and then it took off from there. But as far as Pancho and Lefty, we didn't really organize ourselves until like 2015. So there was a big time from that point till 2015 that I was with their team, and then he passed away, and I kind of developed my own thing and kind of morphed into Pancho and Lefty Steaks at that 2015 point.
So you jumped right in to SCA. You didn't do KCBS or anything like that. You just started right at SCA.
Yes, sir. I jumped right into state cooking. Actually, at that point, there was no SCA. We were actually cooking against Brett in those times. But we definitely did jump into state competitions, and cooking in those competitions, we really understood and knew why when Brett started that SCA that it was desperately needed, because when you cooked in comps like that, it was like no clue of what the judging really was, and
Mm-hmm.
whose brother's uncle, sister's cousin was judging that competition.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of a crazy deal, and sometimes you felt you were like, man, the mayor's son won the competition. That's kind of fishy, isn't it? So you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
that's when
definitely.
SCA finally came along and kind of made that whole scoring categories and all that kind of stuff, and it really helped out tremendously.
That's so cool, man. You were there before it got started, before SCA even got started. That's really daggone cool.
That's
Yes,
awesome.
sir. Yes, it was. I mean, in that time, there was maybe 5 or 6 state cook-offs we did a year. That were, there was maybe about 3 or 4 in Texas, and then of course, like the big one in Magnolia, Arkansas, they hold every year, the World Championship there that they call that one, and then just some random ones across other states, and that was really it. And it was really a different scene back then too, because most of them were attached to festivals, or they were
Mm-hmm.
like in a downtown area with a lot of vendors and things like that, and it was a fun, cool scene. But it's the SCA has kind of changed it all, and it's evolved into something completely different with all these crazy point chasers and all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
fun stuff. It's pretty cool, but it's awesome. And of course the prize money back then wasn't as big as it is now either.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to make those big pots like we have nowadays. So it's a lot of fun though. But major changes that I've seen in state cooking since then.
Oh yeah, you've seen it all from the beginning. That's
Yes, sir.
crazy.
Yes, sir.
So, how did Pancho and Lefty come about?
Well, during the years, maybe about 2012 and to 2014, I have a good friend named Justin. And when I was trying to start my own thing, he would come and just kind of help me out and whatnot. And he was going to school in Texas Tech, which is in Lubbock, which is about 4.5 hours away from me. So it was pretty rare when we were able to really hook up. But that 2015 year, we decided to go ahead. Hey, let's make our own team. Me and him, Pancho and Lefty, and it just kind of went from there. And we
So,
started really getting into it a lot more and doing quite a few more cook-offs, and just kind of steamrolled from that point.
so how did the name come about?
We were kicking around. He had said something, Lefty and this and whatever, and I just said, hey, how about Pancho and Lefty? It's one of our favorite songs, and
Mm-hmm.
just that was it. It stuck, and he actually is left-handed, and I'm Hispanic, so it was perfect, Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So, did you start off when you went into your first competition? Did you create your own rub and know that that's what you wanted to do from the get go?
No, sir. From the very first competition, we used just a commercial rub from one of these local places around here that we thought was really, really good, and that was what we used for a long time, really, until that 2015 season. I said, we got to do something different, and that 2015 years when I came up with the marinade and our steak rub, those two products. And after the very first time we used those, I mean, we were on a roll, with like, fifth, second, third, fourth. I mean, we were right there in the top 5, like every time from the point on we started using our two products. And, we're blessed. It's just kind of one of those things that I put together, and we practiced with it one night. His dad was there and he said, you have to use that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And we did, and thank God we did, because that's how we won the world championship.
Wow.
That's awesome.
How long did it take you to, perfect the rub or the marinade, or was it something you just put together and it just hit?
The rub is kind of funny. I really kind of threw it together one night, and that was it. The marinade is different; it's way more complex, and it took me a long time to really kind of figure out what I wanted in it. And I'd say it took quite a bit of time for the marinade to get it the way I wanted.
I tell you what, when I first
steak rub, I just kind of lucked out. I think,
When I fired up that marinade for the first time, put that thing in that blender and opened that thing up, I was like, I'm about ready to drink this stuff.
Oh yeah.
My
Yep.
gosh.
Same here.
Holy cow, the aroma of that is just amazing.
I'm making
Right,
make it a couple of days before a competition, and I just walk by the refrigerator time I think about shake it up, but when I shake it up, I got to open it up and smell it because
That's what I always did. Is I would always mix mine on a Thursday for a Saturday competition, just to kind of give it time to really mix into that liquid, and then like you said, I shake it up every time I walk by the fridge just to give it a good mix up. And that's kind of was my process forever with it, and then that's kind of what I still recommend is a couple of days beforehand get it mixed up.
That's amazing.
So, this is a kind of out there question. Do you know of anyone using your marinade stuff like that on like bigger meats, or is it you know people just
do I know of anyone?
Yeah, like using it on like brisket and stuff like that, or is it just going on steaks?
I get messages all the time from everywhere of uses that people have done with it on injecting it in brisket or doing God knows so many different things with it, and it's really interesting, and I really enjoy getting that feedback from people on it. But as far as like an injection, I always recommend it to mix it not very potent, because it will really change the texture of that brisket quite a bit. But because I did really make it to be a marinade and not an injection, so
Right.
Of course the ingredients are quite a bit different for each product. But I've had a lot of crazy people come to me with different things, and just like, wow, I can't believe you did that.
I'm sure.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things here, no one ever really talks much about creating their own marinade. People are in tenderizer. Let's go with that, because people do talk about marinades. I did a Worcestershire sauce soy sauce combo for a while that I did marinade in. What goes into coming up with a marinade? I mean, when you come up with their own rub, like whenever you get into barbecue or anyone gets into barbecue, it's like, I'm going to make my own rub. I'm going to be Malcolm Reed. I'm going to be Meat Church. I'm going to buy all the seasonings I possibly can, and I'm going to just dump them in here all together and come up with my own rub. Same with sauces. I'm going to find every liquid that's edible. I'm going to put it in a bottle. I'm going to serve it to people. What goes into a marinade to come up with a good marinade?
Well, for me, it was like, what do I want the marinade to do? So for myself, I wanted the marinade to do three things to my steak, and the first was provide color, to give that good color change to your steak, and that's one of the things I added to the new one is more of a color enhancer to give more of a darkish reddish look to the steak when it sits in it for a little bit longer period of time. That's why that little bit of extra time benefit for your color purpose. The other thing that I wanted my marinade to do was add beef flavor to the steak. So to add, I have a lot of beef flavoring in the steak. Also, some like smokiness flavor in the powder to add to that steak, just to give it that real enhanced taste of beef flavor in it. And then the third thing was, of course, tenderizing. So those are the three things that I wanted my marinade to do for my steak. So with knowing that, that's when I kind of just started putting stuff together and kind of adding things in to meet each certain criteria of the marinade.
Nice. So, I guess we'll just bust it out if you want to go into the old versus the new. And
okay.
Yeah, everybody's chiming in. So,
yes, the recipe for the new marinade, it's the same. However, certain percentages have changed of certain things. So, for instance, a tenderizer, I did reduce it slightly because that was one of my biggest complaints that I always had when people would message me, was that if they left it too long or put it in there, it would turn the steak too mushy. So I said, okay, well, I'll try to address that in this one. The other thing that I did, I added more of a color enhancer. So, just a different type of like paprika in it that made it a little more red, a little more of a color depth to the steak than just like a brown. I wanted it to be more mahogany looking after it kind of marinated that time. And then that last thing, I did add some flavor enhancer to it. I added some MSG, and then I also added extra beef flavor to
Nice.
the
Okay.
mixture. So that's basically it. It's the same recipe, but just changes in percentages in those three things, and that basically is it. And also, I mean, it's hard for people to understand sometimes that changing just your co-packers. This one might use a specific type of, let's say, garlic, and this one uses a certain brand of garlic. Those two different brands could be the world of difference in flavor. So things like that, that I really can't control might be something too that caused, maybe a flavor difference or something in it that made it slightly different. So I think that's another place where some issues can come about. I've talked to some people before where they've changed rubs over from one company to another, and they have the same issue, same exact recipe, but brands of salt, brands of peppers, brands of garlic, they all could have a slight different flavor, or a different reaction even on your meat. So that's something to really think about, when you're changing over from one. And it's tough because people have used it and got used to the old, let's say, and then the new comes out and it's like, oh my God, it's so different, and I do understand that. But for me, it's something I had to do.
So why did you have to do it? What stipulated changes? What goes into changing a product, or why change a product? Not asking like why did you change a product, but what makes changes occur after a product?
As far as like changing co-packers or
No,
why did
like,
I change co-packers?
Yeah, changing percentages and stuff like that, or was that because of the co-packers that you had to change percentages?
The biggest reason I changed percentages is because it's something that I wanted to, to make my customers happy that have used it, because of the tenderizing issue that a lot of people have told me. So that's why I backed it down. So once you back down something, that number of that percentage has to go somewhere else. So in my mind, I was like, I want to put those two, say 5 percentage points into beef flavor and into color. So that's kind of why those numbers change slightly here and there. So that was basically it.
I will say I love the bottle change. I love the bottle. The bags were cool, and I like the bags, but it's just something about a bottle with it makes it really nice too.
I agree with you. I originally wanted to do a bottle, but it was at that time I couldn't really afford it. It was too expensive to put in a bottle. So our next best bet was go with a bag, and I like the bottle too. I think it's nice.
So you got the marinade and you got the steak rub, and those two are what started the whole thing. Talk about your other seasonings. You got a barbecue, a High Plains barbecue dust. You got Rio Grande fajita rub, Red River beef rub. Shout out to River Smokers, and the fajita. Dave, you're twitching there.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
And a TSC's I don't know how to say that AP rub.
Terlingua.
Yes. Here, Dave. I got it. There we go. So talk to us about these seasonings here.
The barbecue dust is something I developed because I just wanted to have, something out there to use on other than steak. I do a lot more cooking than just steak. I do tons of stuff here at home and practice different things, as far as ribs and pork butts and all that kind of stuff too. So that is why I developed the High Plains barbecue, just to have a good overall barbecue rub. And that's been, kind of one that I've really enjoyed, and I've used it, in different, I've used it in steak competitions too. It's got great color, but it's your normal, sweet heat rub, for like I said, ribs and your pork butts and things like that. The next rub that I made after the barbecue rub is the fajita rub. That one to me is more of a Tex-Mex style thing, that I wanted to have a rub that, kind of comes from my heritage, my background, my cooking that, my family came up with, using those Tex-Mex style flavors, and that's why I developed that fajita rub. It's got, of course, your cumins and your chili powders and your salt and pepper and things like that in it that really give that good, Tex-Mex style flavor. I got so many comments on the fajita rub, the regular one, that they would like it to be hotter, so that's why I came out with the fajita rub hot. That's the same exact recipe. It just has a kick of cayenne pepper in it to make it nice and spicy. That TSC rub, that one's a little special to me because those initials, TSC, that's Timothy Stephen Canterbury. That's the man that we started cooking with from the very beginning. My buddy's best friend. He died of cancer, and that's the actual recipe that we bought from the company to develop this rub. We went out, found that rub that we used from the very beginning. We bought the recipe, and that's what that is.
Wow.
So that was our original OG rub that we started with in 2008, and we bought the rights to it, and that's what we put out.
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah. I'm going to have to give that a try.
It's pretty good, man. It's done well. And the Red River beef rub there, I was looking, I knew I was missing one. I developed that one to bring out the color and be a good color enhancer for state competition. But I mean, it's really good. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it. I put a little white sugar in there, and but I really use a specific chili powder that makes it super, super, super red color. It's pretty nice. So it's great, and the flavor's good on really. I like it better on like pork steaks and stuff, but it's amazing on hamburgers, and of course a good layer on brisket, things like that is what I use it for.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to get some of that.
I developed a Cajun dust too. I don't know if it's on the website yet. It came out not too long ago, probably the same time my all-purpose came out. No, there it is, my Cajun shake. Yes. I developed that one because I love Cajun food. That's probably my favorite kind of food. And every Cajun rub I ever buy is either way too dang hot or way too dang salty. So I said, you know what? I'm going to make my own. So that's why I decided to came out with this one and put it together, and that's what I got. And I talked to a lot of guys that use it, and they keep telling me that's beginning to be one of my favorite rubs that you have. So I really like it.
What about
then there's a question about the Texas Black SPG. That one is probably going to be my best rub of all here pretty soon. It is good. I use Texas Black Gold garlic in it, and it's got a really good garlicky flavor. And that black garlic just really enhances that garlic flavor. And then, of course, it has just your salt and pepper in it as well. But
is that out yet?
Yes, it's already out. Yes.
I don't see it on the.
It's
we
not
pass
on
it on
my
the
website, but I haven't put it on my website yet because I've been trying to get it out to everybody else to sell, and haven't quite had time to put it on mine.
Where can we find that out?
I know Papa Joe has it. Barbecue Superstore, KC Barbecue Supply has ordered it. Hub Barbecue Store in Omaha. Those are the ones that are just popping off the top of my head right now.
Yep, there it is. Yep, we got here on right there on Barbecue Superstore.
Yes, that's the label.
Okay. Well,
I even changed the label because it's a specialty rub. That it's a little higher than my other rubs in price because that Texas Black Gold garlic is pretty expensive, but I wanted to put it out. I've been working on that one for about 2.5 years, man, to try to get it right and find a way to get the price down. And Shane Lynn at Townsend Spice, who does my rubs, we found a way to get it done.
Awesome.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. That's amazing. Definitely need to try some of that river rub though, for sure. Or the river beef rub. Yeah,
that's a good color rub on your steak.
Absolutely. That definitely would be a good one. We kind of passed over this. Should have asked this from the beginning, but we can go looking through your Instagram here. You are big on the M grills, aren't you?
M Grills and I, we started back together quite a while ago, a few years back. I actually designed the M16, and Travis and I, kind of got together on that one. I designed it, kind of told him what I wanted, and he made it happen. He put it together, made it look pretty. That all that stainless and everything, and we worked on it for quite a while, and you can see where it's at now. But we've kind of separated from M Grills just for the simple fact that I had told Travis, I can't be bound to really just one grill, with my products. I'd like to be able to cook on several different things and really promote my product, as much as possible on, and be able to cook on a PK or a drum smoker or a Weber or, a hasty bake or whatever, and really, and be able to cook on anything. And that's the HB 250 that just came up on that screen, that hasty bake. I've been able to cook on that one and the Ranger here recently, and they're really great products.
Yeah, you see them little things popping up everywhere now, even up here in the Northeast.
Oh yeah, they're very, very mobile. They're really nice. I mean, it's easy to get that thing lit up and pack it up and take off and go home, man. You don't have to anytime really to worry about it cooling down. It comes down really quickly, and you can pack it up and take off pretty fast.
So did you originally start on PKs, or did you jump right into the M Grills?
We originally started cooking in 08, and we cooked on these forever. My friend and I and his dad, we would actually cook on Santa Maria grills. We cook on open flame grills with real mesquite wood.
Nice.
So as the SEA came about and became, really tough, and consistency became more important over time, we jumped into trying different ones like Weber and what else did we cook on? There's a couple of cheap grills that we would buy here and there, but when we struck gold and won the SEA championship that year, we ended up buying a PK Classic, and that's what we won on.
Yeah, right. This little guy right here.
Yep, that's it. That's her. I still have her too. I'm never going to sell her. She's always going to be in my backyard.
I'd park it right beside this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great grill. We love it. I still love cooking on it. It's it ruled the steak world forever.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the weird thing is, man, people are cooking on all kinds of stuff, but you see PKs they just won't go away. Smokers come and go. People go to drums. People go to gravity feds. People go to all kinds of stuff like that in the KCBS world. But those PKs, man, they're portable kitchens. I mean, for all kinds of.
They've held up well over the years in the steak cooking world. It's kind of crazy that you'd figure somebody else would come along and take over them, but it's been really tough for that to happen. But there's a lot of great grill companies out there nowadays, and it's pretty awesome to have that many choices out there too for a person getting into it. I think it's great.
Do you use is that the drum? I see you use a lot of the short rib drums.
Yes, the owners of Short Rib Drum Smokers are my real good friends, and just kind of hooked up with them and got one of those drums, and man, I love cooking on it. It is pretty awesome. That thing.
I looked into theirs when I was looking at drums, and I just never really got a drum, but I was looking at theirs. They were one that I was looking at.
Yes, I really love it. It cooks amazing, and I mean it's really one of those that you kind of just put your meat on there, close it up, and man, it's like cooking in a crock pot, man. It's just like so easy, Yeah. You just shut it and then take off, go do whatever you want. And, the other day I had thrown on some ribs, and I put them on and I shut it, and I took off to go run some errands. And my dad was like, "Is that going to be okay? You're going to burn this up, or is it going to be okay?" I said, "No, it's going to be fine." And came back like 2 hours later, and they were money. It's just like, bam, easy. Yeah, so I really love that that smoker, and they do a great job. Their craftsmanship is just amazing. They have done great work together over there in Decatur, Texas.
Yeah, no, they were nice smokers. Very nice.
Absolutely. I gotta say here, Roland, your trailer is goals, man. The checks, the banners, the
Cornhole.
cornhole. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like more like a trophy room than it is a cooking room. It looks like.
Yeah, I like it. I like my trailer. It's nice. You know, the TV. I think was the first thing we put up on there. You know, that had to go in. You know, so but yeah, and then of course the check. That was the second thing I think on the
Yep.
wall. You know, but yeah, thank you. I like it. It's been good to me.
Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like it's got a lot of fun on it. And
A lot
then
of good memories in there.
absolutely. Now I gotta ask here: is this a practice or what are you doing with this?
That was a steak catering that I did. My cousin and I did a couple weeks back.
wow.
It
Catering
was for
steaks.
a wedding rehearsal dinner.
Wow.
I would love to have been at that wedding rehearsal. Dang, some good
Yeah,
heat right there.
I know what I gotta do for my wedding rehearsal. That's for sure.
I'll cook for
Yeah,
you.
Yeah,
that's
will you?
we've done a few with quite a bit more steaks than that. That was only about I think 65 or something. You know,
Wow.
yeah, we've done a couple that have been over 100, close to 100, a little
Wow.
over. Yeah, that's a lot of steaks to cook.
Now I'll ask you this: when you do a steak catering, are you doing your competition style stuff? Are you doing marinades? Are you doing that whole big thing, or are you doing something completely different?
Absolutely not. I use my steak rub, put it on pretty liberally, and then once they're done, you know, we butter the steaks, and then I dust with that TSC's all-purpose rub, and that's it. You
Nice.
know, keep them pretty basic.
Yeah,
Oh.
those are. I'd love to have one of those steaks. That's for sure. I tell
They're
you what.
they're pretty amazing when you just keep it basic like that. It's crazy. Just a good salty, peppery steak. It's really hard to beat.
That's what everybody says, you know, backyard steak, just salt and pepper, you know.
Yes, sir. That's
I tell
right.
you what, I need to come down to Texas sometime and compete because the trophies up here are really daggone cool, but nothing compares to a belt buckle. I'd wear
Oh
that.
man.
I'd wear that all the time. All the
Yeah.
time.
Man, I've been chasing one of those for a long time, and I finally got it this past year. That's how I got my golden ticket for this year. So that cook-off right there, it's one I've been wanting for a long time. It's a local one here in the county we live in, and and they put on a great cook-off. And that buckle though, I've been wanting it, and finally got it. I was really happy about that one.
Yeah, I
The
would.
only
I
thing better than
definitely.
that one to me is that check that I got. That's you know. That's the only thing I like better than that belt buckle as far as trophies was the check.
Yeah, that check for 15,000. That's gotta
Yeah,
go up
that
there
one.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a good question someone asked. What was your first SCA World Championship experience like? Rick Manzi here just won a golden ticket a couple weeks ago, heading down to his first World Championship.
Right.
So what was it like for you?
Well, the first SCA championship we had was a little different than it is now because the first one they had was in downtown Tulsa. It was called the U.S. Championship at that time. For me, at that time, I was just barely starting on my own, so it was pretty scary, and the SCA was brand new, so there was a lot of unknown about it. So to me, it was a combination of things that made it kind of like, oh man, I don't know, you know, it's kind of really nervous, you know, and I was able to pull a seventh place that year, so I was really happy about that. 2015, the year Cosmos won the World Championship, I didn't compete. That season had some things going on, changes, so I didn't get to compete. But the next year in 2016, when we qualified and eventually won, that whole scene of the World Championship was amazing. That's when it really got huge. That's when we had it at Billy Bob's, and you know all the people from all over came in, and it's just amazing. It's a great feeling meeting all these people that you know you see on Facebook, you talk to here and there. You know, when you're all there in one room together is really awesome and just amazing to simply meet all these great people. Nowadays, you know, it's a little different because you have many more world champions. You have many more, you know, points champions and ancillary champions and stuff. And you know, there's a lot of good people to meet, and a lot of people out there that, you know, have products, you know, like myself, and then, you know, other companies, you know, like people that cook but have products like Papa Joe Grilling Supplies, Jason Masnick. He has some great products and things out there. You know, he hasn't won, let's say, a world championship, but he's an amazing cook and has some great products, and they have a wonderful store. You know, you get to meet people like that, and it's just amazing. And you know, and have a little drink, you know, out there when you're doing, have a little fun, let loose. It's a great time, and you will 100% enjoy yourself. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, they've been a blast. I mean, the few we've been to and stuff like that. I mean, it's a whole different ballgame than it is, you know, for us doing KCBS.
It is different, isn't it? Yes,
it's so much more relaxing. I mean, the environment's different. You're chatting with people, and it's just like, this is killer for a day. You're in and out. I mean, it's just it's a blast. I love them. Love them.
Yeah. Yes, I agree 100%.
Very addictive.
You never said, did you ever take a judging class or become a judge for the SCA or anything?
No, sir, I never did. I never took a judging class. I might need to, but I never really got a chance to where I could get out there and try it. You know, I was always competing so much and whatnot, and really involved in trying to, you know, do stuff with my products that I didn't have that extra time to really do a judging class. But, you know, I had recently asked Brett when he was going to have one in our area, and I'd like to do one and kind of really maybe get away from the cooking a little more and just, you know, do that, and then just kind of let, you know, a lot of the guys that are on, you know, team Pancho and Lefty, do all the cooking, because they know how to do it, you know, better than me. I'm just an old fart now.
How many?
But no, it's something that I'm kind of trying to plan to do, is kind of gear my focus, you know, to my products a little bit more and focus on that, and then let the teams that I trust and the guys that I trust go out and do the hard stuff, you know. That's kind of my goal, you know, here in the next few years or so, to kind of go that way, and then also do more, you know, like videos and just kind of how-tos and stuff on certain things. You know, I did some, you know, good video not too long ago for Rural Oak, and we, you know, made some barbacoa tacos and did some things like that. It's pretty good little video, and they're going to want me to do something else here pretty soon over Christmas. So, you know, things like that is kind of want to lean towards here in the future. So that's kind of, you know, just switching gears a little bit.
Absolutely. Dave, you had a great question there. How many comps do you do a year, Roland?
I've always been fairly close to 20 to 25 every year. For, you know, since that 2015-16 year, up until maybe last year, I was right around that mark. This year, you know, of course, you know, the COVID thing threw everything off kind of early on in the year, and I'll probably be maybe close to 20 this year, but I really don't know. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but there's one in March for sure that I'm not going to miss. So that's kind of, you know, my plan for sure. You know, I'll definitely make that one. So.
Is there a lot in Texas area? I mean,
you know, it's crazy. Not as much as there used to be. There used to be quite a few, and it seems like a lot of them have just kind of dwindled away a little bit, and I don't know why. But I mean, there's quite a few within driving distance for us in Oklahoma and Arkansas, Louisiana, you know, things like that where we can make it up. But as far as our North Texas area, it seems like they've kind of gone away a little bit. But you know, there's still enough here and there. But I think a lot of times people are just gearing towards just that one big weekend and doing a triple or something, and that's really it. There's not a lot of singles out there. I think, you know, the SCA's gotten to a point where, you know, people might not go that are chasing points unless it's a double or a triple. You know,
that's what we've seen a lot of. I mean, when last year and the year
that's hard to do.
That's the only time you ever get a single maybe is on a Friday night during a barbecue competition.
Right.
I mean, just a Friday night cooks meeting at 4:00, turning steaks at like 8:30, and awards at 9. And but every Saturday one is a double. I mean, we got a triple coming up here, and in a couple weeks, one on Friday and two on Saturday. I mean,
Right.
that's it's definitely getting big. I mean, but then again, I also agree with it too, because up here, you travel 2.5 hours to get to a competition easily.
Mm-hmm.
I traveled 3 hours a couple months ago and forgot my seasoning, and thanks, Dave.
Sorry, that was funny.
But I remember my Pancho and Lefty, my marinade though.
Yeah,
But
good.
that's just if I travel up there for a double. I mean, I traveled 3 hours for a single, and I mean it's all doubles around here. It's just turning into being the thing for sure.
Right, definitely.
Which is good. I like the doubles. I mean, it's I feel like you're there. You might as well cook it.
Right. Yeah, I can do a double, but once you start getting any more than that, that's kind of tough,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's fun though. And a lot of times, if you have any kind of ancillaries that you do as well and things like that. And for me, I did a double one time with my daughter and I both, and man, that was tough because she's 13 and I had to help her, a little bit, and it's really hard getting your times down for yourself and her,
Yep.
so it's tough, man, when you do that, but I wasn't expecting much because I knew it was going to be crazy, and I just wanted her to do it, and she did great. So I was happy for that. So that's a big thing for me too, is getting my family involved and my kids involved and getting them, cooking as well, because there's nothing better than your kids wanting to do things with you, that you love, I said that is the best thing in the world. When your kids are doing things that you love, you've done something right.
Yep, for sure.
Do you do ancillaries, or that's just not your thing?
I do, depending on what it is and where it's at, and and depending on what cook-off it is. Like when I do the one in Heiko, I always do because I've won it twice out there, and it's a pretty good little paycheck out there when you win their ancillary. So I do it there. Then there's some other ones here and there where I'll try it out and go for it and do it. But I do enjoy cooking ancillaries, but sometimes you just want to get in and out, do the steak, and be done with it, and not worry about the other stuff.
Yeah, I'm at that point right now. I'd like to do ancillaries sometime, especially after last week's guest. They are in the top 10 in the world for ancillaries, Bog's Hog Barbecue. I'd like to play around with it, but I'm there to cook steak, and if I can remember my seasonings 3 times in a row, maybe I'll think about doing an ancillary.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, there we go. Thanks, Tyler. But are you a chef, or do you have any chef background? I mean, when you came up with the seasoning and the rub it all, or the food that you like to cook, are you a chef, or were you grew up around food?
I just grew up with my mother cooking amazing food. My grandfather always in the backyard cooking something on his pit. My dad, same thing, cooking on his grill all the time. And anytime we get together as a family, we're barbecuing something, man. So, it's just kind of part of our culture, part of my history that, just cooking a lot, and food's a big thing in the Hispanic culture, man. So that's something I just kind of grew up with, and I just had a passion for it, and just kind of grew from there. But I don't have any professional chef training whatsoever. Okay.
What are your future plans for Pancho and Lefty as a brand?
I really just want to keep, I have a few other rubs that I'm thinking about doing, and some other things that I have in the works of trying to do some other stuff. But really just trying to keep growing my products, growing my brand, and going from there. And then really just supporting companies like, Royal Oak, Short Rib Drum Smokers, of course. Grill Great's been amazing to us over the years, and just those companies, and we recently been hooked up with Victorinox knives, and just doing things like that to help companies that help me, is something I want to keep doing and keep working at. And I've been doing a little bit of work here recently with the Hasty Bait Grill and working with Nick and them a little bit on some stuff. So, the people that are willing to help me, I'm willing to do whatever I can to help them out too. So that's kind of, while using my product. So that's something that I want to do, and just try to kind of expand and show all the people out there, different things to do and how to utilize each one of my products. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of my goal and kind of the direction I want to head and take this thing and see what happens.
Yeah. So I got to ask you real quick, Dave. I got to ask while we're on the topic. Well, you got the short drum smoker now. Could we see a Pancho and Lefty KCBS comp, or maybe an SCA cook on the drum smoker?
I've done a KCBS comp before. I was pretty crazy, but it was with a big steak cook-off out in Lubbock. They have one called the Raider Red Meat cook-off out there, and it was KCBS. And we did it a couple years, and man, that's hard stuff. I don't know how you guys do it.
I don't either. But, we're not good at it. That's why we're pretty good. We can do it pretty well because we're not good at it.
Yeah, but I talked to my buddy Justin West, who the one of the main guys behind Short Rib Drum Smokers, and he keeps pushing me to do some barbecue cook-offs, whether it's just an IBCA here in Texas or a KCBS cook-off. He's just keeps pushing me, come on, man, come on, I'll help you. And, I might do it here pretty soon. And if I do, I'll let you know.
All right, please do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I see a lot of, looking back at all your pictures, and you touched on it about grill grates. I see a lot of people lately dabbling in searing their steaks.
Mm-hmm.
You ever done that, pros or cons? Or, I seen, people, judges aren't supposed to really judge on grill marks, but I feel sometimes maybe they are,
Right.
And I've seen, I forget who it was this past weekend, just did a tally of, he did like 6 comps with searing, 6 with grill grates, and the scores were just all towards the grill grates.
Right. To me, they've developed an amazing product, and I think over the years, the judges might have become conditioned to, thinking that those grill marks are required. And to me, I think it looks way better with grill marks,
Oh, yeah.
That's my personal opinion. But to me, the seared steak, it's hard to match that flavor when you get a good seared steak like that. That's something too that I always battled with. The way we used to cook steaks from the very beginning, we didn't use grill grates. It was just it was a lot like just that sear that you get, from a cast iron pan. But getting that good kind of a good a charred flavor on, a little bit of char on it, and that good sear on it, man, to me, it's hard to beat that taste, that flavor, and that's something that kind of you don't get from using the grill grates is that flavor of it. But then, you're going to get hit, of course, on the appearance. But
I've also seen people doing, grill marks on your appearance side and then searing the bottom.
Right.
I've seen that too. But they were, changing different things up with, rub wise, so you don't burn your rubs on your sear side or something like that. But
right.
I've heard of people doing that as well.
Right. I've kind of played with something like that and kind of started thinking about, how to perfect that. And I think if you can get it right and apply the correct rubs on that bottom seared side, maybe try to eliminate, maybe as much sugar or things like that. And some of those rubs where it doesn't burn on the bottom might be a good way to go about it. And it's something that will take some major practicing, because that's kind of one of those crazy processes that involve so many steps, which sometimes ends up ruining you in the long run. When you get too many steps in your process and you kind of start stumbling over yourself, and then you just fall and you're done. So
right.
For me, it's always been more of trying to be more simplistic and get your process perfected, and be as consistent in every part of your process as possible. to me, consistency is what wins.
Absolutely.
And keeping that, and like I said, every single process that you do, from picking your steak to putting it in that box and walking it up there, you have to be consistent. And that to me is one of the most important things.
I see a lot of people, just at competitions, just talking to certain people, saying, a lot of people always want that try hard. They are hunting for that try hard every single time.
Right.
And some people shy away from the try hard. Are you a certain guy with that, or are you kind of, you like your try hards, or a nice big spinalis?
No, I am a big try hard fan. Always have, always will be. People do shy away from them because there's a process to them, and they cook a little different. And to me, though, that bite you get on a good try hard, it's so much more tender. Just to me, I just like that look, of the try hard versus a spinalis steak. But it's just what you're really comfortable with, honestly, to cook at home, and what you practice with. And when I go to the store when I'm practicing, I try to get one of each, so I can try it both out, because I'm not always going to get a try hard. And a lot of people are starting to learn about them and starting to learn how to cook them and things like that. So it's hard to find them unless you're picking towards the front. And if that's how I cook at home, then that's going to be a pretty sad day for me, because sometimes I tend to pick towards the back. I don't have that lucky draw hand, and that's kind of what happens to me. So a lot of times I don't get the ones that I really like, as far as a try hard. But if there's one out there, man, I'm gonna pick it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why Dave and I did a practice a few weeks ago, and we just bought a whole roast and got it cut into steaks. And then we had, spinalis, and we had tryhards. We had everything in between. It was a very, very nice practice, because you can see the difference in the doneness on each one and how each one reacts.
Right. Yeah, I've done that before, and that's the way to do it, man. When you're going to practice, is buy that whole ribeye roast and get after it. That's definitely the way to do it.
It was a good day.
It was a really fun time.
Good day in the driveway. Couldn't beat that day. Shoot, it was a good time.
You've been from the beginning SCA, and you've seen them to where it is now, one of the fastest growing things in food sports. And we kind of touched on that a little bit. We also touched on this a little bit. You saw how you said how judges are kind of becoming conditioned to having those grill marks on there. Do you think that's a pro or a con? I remember my first SCA, the promoter, Eric Forster, in Greencastle here, a little town right where the road from me. He's like, yep. He said, he goes, I've never done one of these before. I've never heard of them, but apparently someone came in with a flathead shovel, built a fire in a hole in the ground, and won a state competition on it. Is that something you've seen change over the time, or what are your thoughts on the conditioning of judges?
Yeah, I think over time, because I think the biggest reason, because so many cooks are cooking now, and just about any of those cooks nowadays can win that competition. There's so many people out there that are just really great cooks. There's tons out there now, and really kind of know what it takes to win, whether they're using, the grill grates and whatever grill and whatnot, and whatever seasonings and marinades, whatever, you can get on Facebook and kind of find out what you need and what you need to use, and see what's winning pretty easily. And I think, with everybody being that good, it's caused the judges to kind of lean, certain ways, and judge certain ways, just because of how good they are. Back in the day, you had a few people that were really good, and the rest didn't know what the heck they were doing. So judging was pretty easy then. Now it's just so complicated, because you can get one steak after another that's like, holy cow, that's the best steak I've ever had. The next one, holy cow, that's the best steak I've ever had. So it's really difficult. I would hate to be a judge, because I think it's tough, really tough when they come through, and they're all just amazing steaks. It's hard to pick, that best one. It's difficult, I bet. So, to me, having that perfect grill mark, to where at the top it's comes together and it's just perfect. That sometimes it could come down to that, So those kind of things, I think you really gotta got to look at, and that'll be, take you to the next step, that next level of getting perfection like that.
Or you can be like Dave, where when you put it in the wrap, everything sweats off and you still get 10th place.
Hey, it works.
It worked. I don't know. I thought my first steak was a whole lot better, and then I get 10th on my second one. I was like, this thing's junk. I don't know.
It's amazing how that happens when you think something's junk and it ends up placing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the scores were so high at that comp. I mean, around here, I mean, we follow you guys out there and things like that, and look at the scores. Our scoring is just so high.
Yeah.
We had a guy that came down from, where was he? He was from
Alabama.
Yep. And he came down from Alabama and cooked the same thing that he does there. And just the scores were here were just, he said, through the roof. It's just absolutely crazy how our scores were.
Well, remember they go 10th place, 250.1. It's like, holy smokes.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
right.
They were high.
Wow.
I mean, it was.
Yeah,
impressive.
It's crazy up here. I think I took second place with a 251.9 or 251.3, and I think first place was a 252.0. It's insane up here with
that is insane.
Yeah.
So, Roland, well, we won't keep you here much longer. We're coming up on an hour here. What is advice you'd give to someone looking to get into SCA? What would a tip, a trick, or a word of wisdom be for someone first starting out?
People first starting out, to me, it's, go out there with somebody, take a friend with you, go out there together, kind of, just to have somebody to talk to, because, a lot of people get out there and just kind of scared. You see them sitting by themselves and they don't go out and talk to anybody. But have somebody there with you. You feel more comfortable with somebody to go out and just meet people, talk to people, get out there and don't expect much. Just go out there and have fun, and then just kind of slowly start learning, what people are doing, what they're cooking on, what they're using, things like that. And you don't need a whole lot really to get started other than a table, grill, charcoal, and some rubs, So, I mean, it's not anything that requires a ton of money up front to get into. But to me, just go out there, take it easy, do what you're used to doing at home and what you think's good, and try it out, and just go have fun. And more than likely, you'll probably do okay.
Probably.
And that's to me is people start doing way too much, and it's kind of crazy when they first get into it. But keep it simple, like I said, just practice at home and kind of rock and roll with what your family likes at home and see what happens, and then just go out there, have fun, and talk to everybody you can. We're all out there pretty friendly. We don't, we're not mean, and kind of just stick to ourselves and whatnot. So have a drink with a couple people, have some fun. It's good.
There you go.
Good time,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great.
Dave, you got anything else, man?
No, I mean, thought we touched on everything. I mean, it was a great time. Great conversation, I have to say.
Great to meet
chat.
you two guys, man. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I mean, you
appreciate
make a killer product, and I was gonna try to go the entire time without talking about this, man. But the first time I competed with your product, this bad boy came home with me.
Man, that's nice.
Yeah, I will always be a Pancho and Lefty supporter from this day forward.
That's pretty sweet. I like that one.
Yeah. The first place was bigger though, so
that's really cool, man.
But we definitely appreciate it, Roland, and you make a great product. And I'm gonna have to place an order here for some TSC, some of that black, and some of that river beef rub for sure.
Yeah,
and take it for a ride.
Yeah, well, let me know your thoughts, man, when you taste it and try it out. And I love feedback.
Absolutely, will do, sir. So, thank you so much. We appreciate it, Roland.
And I'll get to formally meet you two at the World Championship.
Hopefully, hopefully, we're not in it yet.
Okay.
We're giving it a go.
That's a goal. If one of us goes, both of us are going.
Yes,
so we'll try.
Well, if you do come, do you have Q Chat caps?
No, but we got stickers. But we'll eventually have hats.
Okay. Well, we'll have to do a hat trade when I see you.
We will for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
For sure.
definitely, fellas.
So, all right, Roland, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. Take care.
Thank
you
you.
too. Well, that was awesome. Big fan of that product. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Oh, it's great stuff. Like I said, it's so hard. It's so crazy how we went so hard for it to find it,
Yeah.
But now I have to perfect and get,
It's crack. It's crack.
It's crazy.
So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap this up here, guys. Thank you so much. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And if you didn't see the ticker across, next week we're coming back to the East Coast. We got Bob Tarpey of Dave, what's Big Bob Smoking Q?
Big Bob Smoking Q.
Big Bob Smoking Q. So we'll have him come out here and talk it up a little bit. But, everyone have a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you all next week.
See you guys.